kind of take that into account. And then we practice that Wednesday and Thursday. We walk it on Friday. We talk it on Saturday morning. So now whenever it's time to go out there for that first drive, everybody's confident, knows what we're doing, and understands, I mean, with the type of defense that we have, if we can get out there and get to an early lead, it really changes the game for what the other team's doing. And then I think also, you got to give Coach Sweeney credit for getting his team ready to play. I mean, looking at all the stats and all that versus, all the different unranked opponents and all that kind of stuff. I mean, our guys, for the most part, have been ready to play coming out of that locker room, and that's not always the case. And so, I give our players a lot of credit for. I mean, it's easy to do that for maybe the quote-unquote big games, but now we've kind of moved out of that big game idea to where really it's every week we're playing to a standard and we're not playing to an opponent. And I think that's the only way that you can have that consistency coming out.
Jeff, looking at Syracuse, this is the sixth best third down defense in the country. What have you seen from them on film? What do they do different on third down?
Very multiple. Our guys have had, we've got a lot of the support staff, spends a lot of time breaking things down, and this is, one of those weeks they're needing some help. Hey, what do we call this? I haven't seen this before. It's a little unorthodox, and as coaches and as players, you really train them. If this look, do this. If this look, do that. Well, now there's some looks that we haven't seen before, so now what do we need to do in those scenarios? I think that's a little bit different. So they do a really good job of disguising their pressures, and again, just not a lot of tendencies. So a lot of times on third down, you play a lot of teams, and you know what coverage you're going to get in 3rd and 4. And in this group, you're going to get a lot of different things. So now it really puts a lot more weight on the guys up front, the quarterback, running back, tight end, wideouts, everybody being on the same page, and making adjustments once the ball's been snapped. But they do a great job on third down, and I think a lot of it has to do with the multitude of pressures and blitzes and coverages that they run.
Jeff, you talk about the quarterback depth and making sure the backups are ready to go no matter the situation. Has that always been the focus, even the last 2 years? I don't think Deshaun missed a game. The previous 2 years, it's quite a luxury to have. Were you always making sure that Nick and Kelly were ready to jump in there?
I think that's one of the most difficult jobs in sports, is to be that second-team quarterback, because you have to prepare as if you're the starter. The first play of the game, your starting quarterback goes down. You have to be able to know the entire game plan, all the checks and all those things. And, Brandon Streeter does an excellent job with our quarterbacks. And I think since he's been here, it's, first game right there, Cole Stout going in and being the MVP there in Orlando was awesome. And but Brandon does an excellent job of preparing not just the starter, but also the backups. And I think we've always done that. And that's always been a point of emphasis. And obviously because of the way that Deshaun runs, and he was a fearless player, you knew that he was putting himself at risk, and that was part of what we do. But I think, this year, because of the, those 3 guys competing in that quarterback competition all spring long, and then really throughout early part of fall camp, there's probably been more split reps than maybe in the past, where you knew Deshaun, for 2 years was the starter, and the next guy was kind of the backup. So I think we probably have, outside of Kelly, we probably have 2 guys that have been prepared as the backup, as opposed to maybe in the past where you had that one guy. And then, Kelly's kind of that third guy behind them.
I know you're happy about the running game, but how pleased are you with the nature of the running game inside, physical running, and what does that sort of open up elsewhere?
Yeah, I think that's been a little bit of our, I don't want to say secret formula, but if we can start off early in the year and really run the ball, and especially up the middle, defenses, I think a lot of times defense looks at our skill on the edge, and they go into the game saying, all right, we're going to keep things in front of us. We're not going to let, I love it. The very first time that Wake Forest went up there and played man coverage, it's 3rd and 4, and Deion ran right by the guy on a touchdown, and that was probably one of the last times the entire game we saw man coverage, and so that was over real quick. And so I think when you can run the ball, then it not only can run the ball, but you've shown in games that you can run the ball. Then I think that forces teams, even though they know they don't want to single up some of your top skill guys on the edge, they feel like they have to be able to stop the run, and it just opens everything else up. So, that's really why there's really been no panic for us this year as far as on the perimeter. We see what we do every day in practice versus one of the top defenses in the country, and so we feel like this is really going to help us. But there's no doubt. I mean, there's a difference. In the past, sometimes we've had to. You got to do whatever you got to do to get rushing yards. Sometimes you have to scheme it up. You got to do a lot of shifts and motions and movements, but the better you get, the less shifts, motions, movements, and all that stuff you really have to do. You line up in two back and say, we're running it right here, let's go play ball. And we've been able to do that at times, and a big part of that credit goes to those guys up front, really taking some ownership. But I'm excited of how it's going to open up some things. People are playing us different than what they've shown on video versus other teams, and I really take that as a compliment for our guys for what they've done offensively, that people feel like they need to change up some of their base defensive plans.
How does this team play so well on the road?
I think it's just that our guys are playing at a high level every week, and it becomes more noticeable because they're going on the road at Louisville and they're going on the road in these environments. But I think, again, it goes back to that environment, that culture that Coach Sweeney's really created. Y'all hear us say it all the time, and it sounds like coaches talk, and that's fine, and maybe it is, but there's a lot of truth in it. Our guys know, hey, it doesn't matter who we play, where we play, black out, garnet out, white out, whatever out you want to make it, what time the game is. If they started at 3:30, now they're moving it to game day, and it's 8 o'clock at night, and it's a full moon. None of that stuff matters. All that matters is how we play. Do we play to our standard? And our guys have bought into that, and they've also seen, we remind them. We don't sit here and remind them our records and stats and all that, but we say, hey, we have a proven track record that goes back a lot further than just this big game and this big moment, and let's just stick to that plan. And our guys have bought into that. Coach Sweeney's done a great job of really retraining the way that our guys think. I think that's critical. And then if we can take all the external factors out and really focus on ourselves, then we can play at a consistent level.
Judge, you said earlier in the season how much of a challenge it is for these receivers going up against us cornerbacks on the other side, but what kind of challenge does practicing against Dorian O'Daniel?
Yeah, Dorian's a guy that you have to consider just like he's a DB, and you also have to consider he's like a linebacker. He's one of those hybrid guys. There's very few guys like that. Typically, as an offensive coach, you're looking for that matchup. They've got to make a decision with their Sam linebacker. Are you playing a linebacker body right there, and then we're going to work, our slot receivers on you, and it's a great matchup for us in the passing game? Or are you going to play more of a nickel Sam linebacker, meaning he's better in the passing game, and maybe we can attack him a little bit in some run game, perimeter runs, but Dorian's one of those rare guys where he's both. And so you really take away, he's athletic enough to be able to cover your wide receivers, and he's also physical enough and has a nose for the football to be able to get involved in the running game. And he's obviously the ideal type player you want for that position.
Coach, I don't know if you had a chance to watch Deshaun last night, given that you had practice, but he's been making and tying NFL rookie records the last couple of weeks. How much can his success in the league help you from a recruiting standpoint? Not that you need much help from recruiting quarterbacks lately, but it's been a long time since Clemson's had a star quarterback in the league. Does that just give you that much more recruiting capital?
Yeah, Deshaun's been helping us recruit. There's a lot of teams that are a lot of players on our team now that probably first came to Clemson because they watched Deshaun, as a freshman and a sophomore playing here at Clemson. And so, for us, we sit back with a big smile on our face. I did get a chance was pretty late last night. I got to see the last couple touchdowns, and I thought it was pretty awesome seeing Deshaun throw it to Nuke. I mean, those are two guys that are here in two different time periods, and but both had tremendous impact on our program and the growth of our program, and now they're getting a chance. I mean, I just watched that last night, and I go, we're going to watch these guys for years to come, just tearing up defenses, and so very proud of those guys, but not surprised at all. And I've said it before, Deshaun as a freshman in high school looked like he was a senior. Deshaun as a freshman at Clemson looked like he was a senior, and Deshaun as a rookie quarterback doesn't look like a rookie. So he's just been who he is at every level, and that's been fun to watch.
When you guys do have so much depth to these quarterbacks, you've got 4 and 5 stars that are backups. What is your pitch to retain them? What makes them want to stay here when their playing time might be a little uncertain?
Well, I think again, it goes back to the culture and the environment that you have here. And, we got the same situation. I look at a guy like Trevion Thompson, very highly recruited, very talented guy. Hunter Renfro just kind of worked his way up. And here's Trevion as a redshirt junior, sitting here, and he's one of the happiest guys on our team. Can't wait to go out there and make a play. And again, it's part of the culture that these guys have chosen to be a part of. And, it doesn't mean you're not going to have guys from time to time that want to, go out and maybe do the best thing that's for them and their interests. But I think we're proud that we're able to retain a lot of guys because of the environment and the culture, and then also because we play